A very good evening to our viewers. Welcome to Elite TV, and you're watching Elite TV's Open Debate in English. I'm Amrita, your host for this crucial debate on the topic, the need of a comfort zone. A good sleep is crucial for well-being. Sleep deprivation harms memory, concentration, mood, and increases accident risks. Quality sleep requires a comfort zone, especially in challenging times like the current unrest in Manipur. A calm mind during hardship relies on a good sleep, not sleeping pills. These crucial comfort zones of our villages and homes are being disturbed by the emergence of so many vigilante groups and their harsh accents. We must ensure safety for every Meitei in our community, villages and homes. What may be done from good intention is now becoming an unwanted effect. Overreacting to mistakes turns us into scared and fearful people, harming our community. Let us avoid turning brave Meitei lions into apologetic cowards. To discuss on this topic, let's welcome our expert panelists for today. Our first panelist for tonight is Advocate Junior Luwang, Supreme Court of India. Welcome to Open Debate, Oja Luwang.
I thank you, Amrita, for having me on the show.
Our second panelist for tonight is Oja N. Ibungochoubi, Executive Editor, Manipur Mail. Welcome to Open Debate, Oja Ibungochoubi.
Good evening, Amrita.
Our third panelist for the show tonight is Oja Chongtham Victor, Advocate. Welcome to Open Debate.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Let's open the floor right away. My first question, I'll be coming to Oja Junior Luwang. That in the Western world, the right to privacy is strictly imposed and respected. This is required in order to protect the comfort zone of each individual. Why is privacy laws in Manipur not properly imposed and it is not even considered important? What's your take on this, Oja Luwang?
Yeah, Amrita, see, privacy has a lot of dimensions, and as much as I think it is important in the Western world, it is also important in Manipur. I mean, everywhere privacy is something which every individual should cherish and cherish. It's true for most of the countries and most of the continents and most of the cultures. That's my opinion or my take on that. But having said that, there is a difference between the Western world and what is happening in Manipur in terms of the way the mob violence or whatever the mob trial is taking place, and the way we are conceiving the concept of mob trial as such, and then the consequences that follow. Say, in ethos of our society, the Meitei society, there is some kind of a known or unknown scheme, which we might broadly term as neighborhood watch. Neighborhood watch, because we take care of our neighborhood, we have our local clubs, we have our cultural organizations to see that certain norms and traditional aspects of our culture are taken into account, while we all try to act either individually or socially in different spheres of life. There's the Manipuri way of life. Now, it's a good thing that we have some kind of a known or unknown, recognized or unrecognized, neighborhood watch scheme. But when it comes to social, issues, then the problem is that things get extrapolated, and then many of us tend to take law into our own hands, and then indulge into what we call mob lynching or mob warakpa or whatever form of punishment we have seen in our society. So what is otherwise good, or what was otherwise good for our society, which is well intended, has sometimes turned into a demon, which has come to haunt us, or some of us at one point of time or the other. So that's the issue we are challenging right now. Of course, the issue of privacy. Amrita, you are right. There's got two problems. The problem is that when you have a mob violence, it is the one aspect is the actual violence, having taken place on the victim. The victim suffered. Okay, that also is wrong. There's one part of it, but the most serious part of it is that then there are videos circulated, there are virals going around in social media. That, according to me, is the worst part of it. So it has got two dimensions in our society. Now, in terms of, I will try to bring my answer in the context of what you asked me, privacy. The second part of what I just explained, it's more about violation of privacy. It leads to more violation or a worse form of violation of the victim's privacy. So that is something I think we should take into account while we frame our own laws to tackle such issues. See, Manipur, Rajasthan and West Bengal have come up with some kind of an anti-lynching bill somewhere in 2017-18 to ensure that such victims are properly compensated, the privacy is respected, and the culprits are taken to book. But somehow I think these bills are pending with the President of India pending approval. So that's the status. But in the context of Western world, say Amrita, what we see in Manipur is also slightly it's not a lone circumstances, or it's not confined to a society only. The mob trial issue, the code of mob, the rule of mob instead of rule of law. So that is something which is quite prevalent even in the African countries also. If you see Cameroon, if you see Nigeria, if you see South Africa, their figures are very high. Loss of privacy because of mob trial and mob justice. So internationally, it's an issue, and more so in say those societies or those countries where there is some sort of a law and order challenge. That, or rather, should I say, in developed or developing countries or societies, it's more prevalent. That's the trend which we see right now. But if you see the Western context also, let's talk about America. Now, what happened? Trump was trying to claim that his defeat was not actually a defeat, and it was actually his win. And then people marched into Congress. People took law into their own hands, tried to dismantle the whole the Congress infrastructure. Somebody entered it, and now still a trial is going on. And so it's not confined not only to the developing or the underdeveloped societies. It is also very much there in the Western world, but in a different form. There is more complicated and more little more say organized to that extent. But they have laws in their own in the books to deal with such issues, and that's why you will see a number of court cases having been processed against Trump, and then he's even competency to challenge the 2024 election being under the supervision of courts. So that's the difference between the Western world and our world. Because in the Western world, nobody goes unpunished if you have committed a crime. See, there is a very important judgment of the Supreme Court of India, which is Tehsin F. Poonawalla versus United of India 2018. The Supreme Court has dealt with the issue of mob violence, and it has also laid down a number of guidelines as to what is to be done, what the state infrastructure is supposed to be in dealing with mob violence. I will not say everything, but it also has talked about the due compensation to the victim of mob violence. This is the kind of seriousness the court has gone into and has laid down a number of guidelines. So privacy, yes, is important in our society. Was a small society in the sense that everybody knows the other person. So if you have some kind of a social indignity or some kind of a viral video, then you tend to suffer more in a small society rather than in a big society like Delhi or Mumbai or New York. Here, there nobody is nobody. Everybody is there in their own life. So that's the difference between the Western world and our society. Our society is more sensitive. We are more social than our counterparts in the Western world. So privacy, yes, is a very important issue. So it's time for the state government to expedite the passing of the Anti-Lynching Act. The bill, I think I should say bill, is going to the president, and we should see that it's expedited, and we should also ensure that all the court guidelines are followed in dealing with people who have taken laws into their own hands, and at the same time also have some kind of a social awareness campaign at the local level, at the club level, to ensure that the issues are only discussed but not aggravated to the extent of causing violence to anybody. We should discuss it. We should discuss it at the local level.
Yeah.
No issue with that, but not to the extent of causing violence to anybody. Yes.
Okay, thank you for your opening remarks, Ojar Junior Luwang. So, Ojar, Luwang has brought up the topic of neighborhood watch that is already prevalent in our Métis society, and also regarding put into context about the mob lynching and also the mob justice that's really prevalent, and also how it violates the privacy of an individual. On that note, I'll move on to our debate to Ibungochoubi, that why is it that the instances of such moral policing always come on the rise during such difficult times, during a time of conflict? Is it a side effect of a bigger problem, or is it an expression or a symptom of something negativity going on in a society?
We have seen in the last couple of decades, when the turmoil started in our own state, Manipur. I think if you go back and look back from the 70s, 80s to till date, I would only say that the rule of law or the failure of the system invites such kind of a movement or the eruption of the vigilante groups in our own society. If at all the rule of law exists, if the government, if the administration is in the position to exercise in every form of life the protection of human lives, the protection of the property of the common people, that should be the first confidence that an administration should instill in the minds of the people. Of course, yes, when there is a state of confusion, when there is a state of lawlessness, people do come out in such situations, which is very unfortunate, and what we are witnessing today. I would put it this way: the system has to prove itself that it exists.
Right.
The government has to prove that the government exists. The rule of law has to prove that it exists during the most difficult times. We as a young reporter during the 80s were told by our seniors that the excesses committed by any kind of the law enforcing agency, which in fact comes to the state in the aid of the civil administration. The very line that one of the Supreme Court judges had mentioned during the early 80s is that the rule of law, the system has to be proven to exist during the most difficult times. And in fact, when there are movements, when there are instances of the mob lynching or the vigilante groups emerging during such crisis, the administration has to prove that such a thing, such a kind of movement is an uncalled for in our society. I think the very failure of the system gives rise to such movements, such emergence of the vigilante groups, or in fact the people who come out to take law in their own hands, because the trust and of course the failure of the system is something that we have to understand, and we have to remind the government, we have to remind the administration that they have to very swiftly act and tell the people that such a thing, such a movement or such illegal activities are not accepted in the modern society. I think this is what we have to understand, what we see in our state today. The kind of trends, the kind of instances we keep reporting every day, as we see in the social media. Not only the reports that we see, the kind of humiliation, the kind of instant visual depictions that comes out in our social media, which is the worst of its kind in the present context. I think, Amrita, from this perspective, we fail to report such things in the right perspective. It is the duty of the administration, it is a duty of the government to check, not only check, to ensure the people that you have no moral strength, you have no moral right, and there's nothing called legitimate in such a kind of a trend that one takes to deliver justice to the people.
Right.
I think if such things are happening, it is an indicator that the administration has failed to prove itself that it exists. I think this is what we have to understand, Amrita.
Okay, very good point, that the failure of the rule of law is what invites such an activity or trend to take place in society, that the people are losing confidence in the government and the governance, and hence take laws into their own hands and to solve matters on their own. On that note, I'd like to move on to Oja Victor, that the Meiteis who are residing in Imphal Valley, where they're living in constant fear and anxiety. One of the fear is that they could be attacked from the Kuki militants, and another kind of fear comes from the fear of bullying from such vigilante groups. In such a situation, what are the steps that the government may take, as Oja Ibungochoubi has put forward that this is a failure of law and order? And also, what kind of steps can be taken to ease the constant fear and anxiety of the masses? Oja Victor.
Well, Amrita, it's like opined by Brother Ibungochoubi that squarely covers that the subject matter. So, in the last 9 months, in the violence-stricken state of Manipur, which has impacted a profound negativity amongst all of us, irrespective of the communities, not only amongst the Meiteis and Kukis, it spread over all the communities and affects collaterally to all the communities. So, my observation within this particular area is not within the so-called valley and the Kukis, those who are dwelling in the hills. It collaterally affects to all of us. Why the state government failure has occasion to such unprecedented violence, and which rather hamper to the development in terms of socio-economy and in terms of education, in terms of health and hygiene, and that mental stress being received by all of the innocent peoples. And those displaced, most of them are from the, from the outer area of Manipur. In short, those are most of 70–80% are from this village areas only. Mm-hmm. But in this area and in this subject matter, the silence of the governance, which has rather created another form of mental stress, thereby causing the health deteriorations, even to the extent of the education system of the children. We have lots of untold miseries. Those stories I don't like to narrate again, but which have enveloped in our society in the last 9 months, which is something unprecedented, and we never speculate that when it is likely to be sorted out or it's going to be finished out, and in which we believe, based on the logical fallacies, that it is that we'll win the war and they will win the war, and as if this is a war, as if we have a prize. So this has to be at the first and foremost place. It has to be stopped by way of just resorting into something with a positive approach towards all those displaced persons beyond the parameters and beyond the horizons which a human being can do. So in which the state remains silent and full of reticence has been just followed up till that, and it is something called, I should say, it is authoritarian type, and as if the public have to follow the footpath, from which we gain nothing, and rather it is adding fuel to the fire. So this needs to be stopped, and this needs to be intervened from all the communities, and by just throwing out all those issues only in between the two communities is also not a good gesture and a good sign of living together. So I call all the communities dwelling here in Manipur as well as the neighboring states to contribute in terms of the aid, in terms of anything they can extend, so that we can have and we can reimagine the future and to have the harmonious coexistence in a very near future.
Okay, Oja Victor has also stressed that the silence of the government is even causing another stress to the public, and also not just to the two conflicted community, but also to all the other communities residing in Manipur, and also a call for help from in the neighboring states as well. Now I'd like to pull this attention to a recent event that to Oja Junior Luwang, that as you may well know, in Manipur and in the history of Meitei Kingdom, we have a proud history of not giving a death sentence to any women offenders. The maximum punishment that is given out to women is mostly public shaming or isolation. But recently, we see that this line has been crossed. We have seen a recent video surfacing in social media of a young woman being flogged, being filmed, and uploaded on social media. This is just like public flogging. What is your say on this, Oja Luwang?
Yeah, Amrita, I have seen the video, and it's very, very unfortunate to see the video, and more so it was circulated widely.
Right.
I think everybody, almost everybody in Manipur must have seen it. It's a physical violence that was perpetrated, but worse was the you can say the spread of the video, which was visible to everybody, sacrificing her privacy, affecting her livelihood, affecting her mental health. Right. It's a very, very serious thing, and the steps to be taken to ensure that the culprits are taken into account. And I'm sure, I'm told that some of the accused have been booked by the police, and they are in the police custody, which is a good thing. I mean, let's also see what are the main challenges in dealing with such issues, more so as to why such violence is being perpetrated incessantly by some members of our group, both on the positive side as on the negative side. The positive side is that it's our otherwise well-intended community works program having been extended to the extent beyond the red line. Right. I think some people have done it. A good and otherwise good scheme being misused or perpetuated to a legal extent. So there is something which we have to address, and we have to know where to draw the red line. You can say the line for ourselves, not to cross it. Now, let's see what are the challenges in such matters. Why such violence is being perpetuated regularly, and as to why there is a problem in tackling such issues. See, the first problem is that when a group of people come to a house, attack the house, ransack the house, demolish the building, demolish kill people or even punish people, the problem is that it's a group of people, so there is a difficulty in identification of the perpetrators or the accused. So because unless until we have a CCTV camera in the house, so most of these people go unpunished. So that's the one big challenge which we are facing as a society. So the solution is to have the videographic recordings of those incidents, which I think is more often captured in CCTV cameras of some neighboring house or even the affected house. So which is a good thing. But we should ensure that we have CCTV cameras once we feel that you are vulnerable. That's one challenge as well as one small solution. The second part is that you see, when such kind of incident takes place in a house, sometimes, also I say more often, it's for a good reason. Somebody raped somebody, somebody killed somebody, the local people identify him, they get out him, they demolish his house. Sometimes they punish him. It's a good cause, but being attempted to be tackled through an otherwise unlawful means. So the second problem is that there is a lot of local political pressure because see, we know that the crime has happened, and most often we know that this is the person who has committed the crime, even though there is no fair trial, but it's a trial by the mob.
Right.
So the local politicians tend to come in the picture and tend to resolve the issue amicably without affecting anybody, and then the perpetrators go unpunished. So this is one small issue we have. Now the third part is that SPC in the current crisis, such mob violence or violence by multiple people, you can't identify the actual accused. So what you do is that you go for the zero FIR. Zero FIR is where you file a FIR where there is no name of the accused. Only the place of residence is mentioned. Then you file with any police station. Then within 24 hours it goes to the right police station. So zero FIR is something for the police to investigate. A FIR is filed. This person has been killed. This person has been flogged. This house has been demolished. We don't know the accused. It was a group of people. Then it is left to the police to look for the accused. And more often the police fail to identify the accused because there was no camera. There is no video clipping. So more often such investigation land up with zero findings. So that's the second challenge which we have, or should I say third. And then there is a problem of community backlash.
Right.
You know, when you were seen taking action against a particular accused who is a member of the mob, then as I said, that most often such crimes or violence is for a good reason in the public perception. So when you are seen taking action against a particular perpetrator, then there is a community backlash, and not many people can face such backlash.
Right.
So there's a third challenge which you have. Well, then let's look at the solutions. What are the possible solutions? As I have indicated in the first round.
But Oja Luwang, just to interrupt you for a moment, you said that there is a line between what is described as a neighborhood watch for a good intention. It's sometimes turned into unlawful activities. But where do you draw this line? Where do you draw this line between what is a good intention and what compels them to turn into something unlawful?
Yeah, see, Amrita, the line which I talk about is between what is lawful and what is unlawful.
Right.
Going to an accused house, helping the victim to identify the accused, filing an FIR accordingly is what ought to be done.
Right.
Without causing any violence to the house, without causing any violence to the suspected accused. Okay, we have identified you, interrogated you, discussed with you, make you understand what are the consequences. Now you remain here. We are calling the police. The police will take you. And then counseling the victims, also counseling the members of his family, because if you see, it is the suspected accused who has committed the crime, not the whole household, not his wife, not his innocent son, not his innocent daughter. Because if you demolish the house, you are not demolishing the house of only the suspected accused. You are demolishing the house of the whole family.
Right.
Many of whom have nothing to do with the suspected crime. So there has to be some kind of a community awareness program to this extent that yes, as a part of our culture, as a part of our tradition, we have a tradition of resolving issues amicably through community effort, and this is how we should behave, how we should resolve under the laws of the land. But beyond that, if you try to take law into own hands, try the accused right there and there and punish them right there and there, that is unlawful. Once violence is there, so the duty of a mob, if at all there is a good reason for a mob, is to go to the accused house, help the police or law enforcement agency in identifying him, collecting evidence, counseling his family members, and stopping themselves from ransacking the house, or stopping themselves from causing violence to the accused or to any member of his house or any of his assets and properties. So that's how it should be. Now, when I say crossing the red line, crossing the red would mean causing violence or causing damage or causing any form of say permanent destruction or say destruction of any particular asset, or maybe it could be a house, maybe it could be a household infrastructure, a garden, or even the cars which the suspected accused has. So
even the humiliation by filming videos and circulating, including
also,
that.
Yeah, that's the most important part. Of course, one may take a video clipping of what is happening, but this should be handed over only to the law enforcement agency, not circulated in the social media. So that's a thumb rule. Because
okay, but to follow the due process of law, that is what you're saying. Okay, I'll come back. Okay, I'll come back to you. Okay. Please, please go on.
Just 2 minutes. So there's the Lakshman Rekha between what is lawful and what is unlawful. Now let's see what are the means. How do we resolve such issues? As I said just about 2 minutes before, there should be some kind of a proactive awareness campaign, both by the state machinery and even our own clubs and voluntary organizations and CSOs, some kind of agreed framework on resolution of such issues without indulging into any kind of violence. That's one, some kind of a social awareness campaign which should be conducted both by the state machinery and also by the voluntary organizations. Now, even the Supreme Court has said that there should be some kind of a, let's say, reinforced police, you can say, investigation process or law enforcement process for such mob violence issues, for the purpose of collecting evidence, credible evidence to the extent possible. Some kind of a special police program can be held amongst the law enforcement agency people to tackle such issues as effectively as possible. Now, the third one is that, or rather should I say, the most important one is that we should have some kind of a fast-track court for dealing with mob violence, because mob violence should not be tolerated, according to me, at any level, not beyond the extent which is allowed by law. If it crosses the Lakshman Rekha, then it should be expeditiously reported to the police, and then law should be punishment should be given, and then such matters ought to be deferred to a fast-track court to deal with such issues within a limited time frame. So this is my take on some forms of mob violence that is taking place in Manipur, not necessarily linked to the present Koki Meitei class. Thank you.
Okay, that is very insightful solution points that Luwang has put forward regarding an agreed framework, and even including a new investigation process, and also to submit it to a fast-track court for swift trial of such events, of such incidents. On a similar note, I would like to come to Ibungochoubi that some groups are imposing a strict diktat on our entertainment industries. As a result of this, as you may have known, that many renowned artists are temporarily out of work. They have voiced their woes on social media on facing huge pressure from certain groups against performing their work. How can we resolve such a situation, Ibungochoubi?
During the most difficult times, as we see, last year there was a very low-key celebration of almost all the important social activities. For our community, Ibungochoubi is one of the most important festivals, or the traditions that we have inherited from our ancestors. And every year this is one moment, one particular union among the families that we eagerly wait. It was not at all celebrated, and not a single family did observe or enjoy the reunion of the families during Ibungochoubi. And in fact, the majority of Christians last year had a very low-key Christmas because of the human tragedies that we have seen in our own state. It is a reaction, or it is a kind of response that we see during difficult times. However, However, at the same time, we also have a trend in our own state, in our own culture, that celebrations of any kind during the examinations or during the board exams of class 11, class 10 and 12, many parents, many communities request that a very loud festivity should be avoided because it disturbs the children's, it disturbs the children's continuous process of studying, which is very crucial during their lifetime. That is a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
The trend that we are seeing is, if at all the restrictions of celebrations is because of the trends, because of the sad tragedies that we are witnessing, is, of course, it is not at all a very good sign. But on the pretext of quality, on the pretext of moral judgment or moral policing, or checking the creativity by a particular group and laying out norms for entertainment.
Yes.
I think that is what you are referring to.
Yes.
When you have entertainment, when you have norms, and people, certain group express their very strong objections that these are not to be accepted in our society. I think this is what you are referring to. And
Yes.
they come in the form of big dictates saying that such is not permissible to be publicly performed. These are very debatable issues. These are very debatable issues. But when it comes to art, when it comes to creativity, I think it is the public, it is the people who would not accept and who would definitely reject the creativity or the product of an art form. For example, you have a song, you have a Sumang Lila, you have a play, you have the cinema, whatsoever it is. I think it is the outright rejection of the public. If at all, if it is not in a good taste, the creativity has to be something appreciated, something liked by the people. At the same time, there should be a particular genre as to how we can be entertained. But a particular group of people or a particular sect of the society laying down, putting down chartered ways of do's and don'ts, I think that is what we have to debate. And it is, of course, the responsibility of an artist. I think if you look at the many writers of, of the 17th, 18th centuries, the responsibility of an artist, the responsibility of a writer, I think this is something that we have to understand. And the very latest trend that the entire the fashion world is witnessing today, not only in Manipur, I think in the big cities, even New York, France, of late, some of the designs created by some people in the name of creativity, they have been outrightly rejected by the society. I think it is because of the most irresponsible way of creativity. From that perspective, we as a community, we as artists, we as writers need to understand our own responsibility towards the society, which their products, their creativity will have a very serious impact on the minds of the people. Liberal thoughts or whatever we say, I think to some extent, I cannot accept personally that in a Sumang Lila, outrightly some people creating something which is not at all acceptable to the society, because it is being witnessed by the entire community, children, women, of all ages. We sit around and watch the entire product. And that is the responsible way of how writers, artists should also honor the responsibility as artists. However, I think from my personal point of view, let the people reject any kind of creative art, rather than some people saying that these are the norms, these are the set trends that we create. And if you have to create music, if you have to create dance, if you have to create writings or any kind of creative way, the writers, the listeners, the people who watch them, they will reject, and they will be out of the market and they will not be respected. Yet I think it is very common in our society that some people, rather a group of people, would lay down their charter of thoughts in the way of do's and don'ts in creative art form. I think these are certain things that we have to debate within our own societies. This is a debate that we have to debate within our own societies. I have found myself very unreasonable, very objectionable designs in the form of creations, in the form of music, in the form of writings. I do not like it. I think I have outrightly rejected, and it would have an impact on the young minds. This is what I personally feel. Yeah, but I think we should, within the confines of our own homes and societies, we should discuss as to how creativity has to be respected, and those people who are the entertainers, who are the people who keep us happy, I think they should also be responsible in some way. But I personally, I personally do not endorse the way how people lay down the norms or a set of charters that this is what you should do, this is what you should not do. I think
that it is better to trust the entertainers or the creators to handle things responsibly, is what you're saying, instead of putting them under controlled regimes. It's what you're saying, Ibungochoubi.
Yes, it is one way of saying that let the people reject, let the audience reject. However, to some extent, I think it is a creator, it is a writer, it is a designer who are not in the normal frame of mind. They create certain things. Maybe they are in a different league, which we do not understand, which we are not entertained, and we are not happy. Yes, there would be creators, there would be artists who would be definitely not in the league of what we think.
But Ibungochoubi, would you agree that sometimes, and most of the times, during such conflict, during hard times, during a war-torn country, even in the Second World War, there have been instances of art uplifting the soldiers, uplifting the public who are the victims of war, and using entertainment as some form of escape from the reality, and also because of what the soldier is fighting for, that they are making the art form to continue and progress. What about that?
Human emotions are very important in any form of life, right from the moment that you wake up till you sleep, and during the most difficult times. Yes, of course, entertainment is something that you cannot do without in our normal lives, whether it is sadness, whether it is happiness. In any way, entertainment, happiness, sadness, it goes as the same side of the coin. The same coin that you have the same thing running away in our blood. However, my point is that I do not endorse any kind of a very strict norm or a kind of trend that's saying that this is the trend that you should follow, because creativity is something romantic which is beyond reality. As an artist, I think they should have the liberty to create. At the same time, the artists, they should also have the responsibility towards the society. This is what I was trying to say.
Okay, that is indeed an interesting point. Thank you for your thoughts. Now I'd like to move on to Oja Victor, that regarding the cases that Oja Junior Luwang also mentioned earlier in his point. But there is one question that I'd like to know from you, that many people, they think that our lawyers and the court cases, they take so long and they adjourn cases a lot of times. So this is one of the reasons that the common people lose faith in the legal system, and they approach in other ways for justice. So what do you think, as a lawyer, as an advocate, that what can be done to restore faith of the people into the justice and the justice delivery system?
Well, Amrita, it's all about the transparency and accountability, which can be the measures only where the the justice system can be relied upon by the public. And unless we have that transparency and accountability, the public lose the faith and confidence. So uh, making increase in transparency in the functioning of the legal system, like including making court proceeding available to the public assessment, including the judgment and how it proceeds with. Those things are initially, there has to be another stage where the judicial system has to give to the public, and we need to ensure the accountability for legal professionals and institutions established to mechanisms to address the misconduct and corruptions on the part of lawyers as well as the judicial officer.
Okay.
And we need to more enter into the legal system, present legal system and legal educations by all the citizens at large, so that by knowing the literacy and by promoting the legal literacy and educations amongst all the public, then we'll have the better understanding about the legal processes. And if we happen to know about the legal processes, then obviously we'll just scale down the pending cases, as well as we can boost more on the positive vibe amongst all the litigants. We need to conduct an outreach programs to increase awareness about legal rights and responsibilities. And we need more of efficiency, and with subject to some timelines, irrespective of the enactment of laws. The court has to fail to discharge their duty. There is a mandatory part, there is directory part. By secluding the provisions itself, we cannot determine and adjudicate in a very, very justice-oriented approach. So we have to be very much scientific enough to decide the matters as if the same happens to my family, my society, the court vis-a-vis the councils and litigants also have to have that kind of feelings. Only then we can surpass that kind of hampering situations. Unless those things are taken up from all the avenues, maybe from litigants and from councils, as well as from the adjudicating authority as well, then the losing of faith and confidence will be more and more scaled. So in a way, we have to have the so-called American system, wherein they deal the issues and tackle the issues rather in the form of arbitrations and mediation.
Right.
So in the context of India, we file a case, thereafter we call upon parties and we try to settle laws. And we need experienced mediator, and mediator, as well as we need more counselors in regards to the family issues. And apart from the crime, we have lots of family issues, even in the context of Manipur, as Luwang has also mentioned about those crimes and all those things. And as far as those things are concerned, that though the FIR is registered, they have the chance to create lots of problem in the future, in the long run, because they are being supported by numbers of people from the back door. And when it comes to the court, they will try to just get a bail, and so the victims will only run from pillar to post. So this is not the common issue, and so vis-a-vis how to tackle the issues of crime is also another episode where the public and as well as the law enforcing agency have to come together and sort out the issues.
Right.
Though registration of there are numbers of FIRs being registered, the chances of punishment in the context of India as well as Manipur is not above the 90. So it is around 95-96%. Most of the convict got acquitted in the later course of time. So these are the things why the peoples have low in the adjudications as well as the court judicial adjudicating authority.
Okay, interesting point. I'd like to take that point that you mentioned about legal awareness and legal literacy and put it forward to Oja Luwang, that there is a kind of justice that people want. They want instant justice, and the court systems take a lot of time. Suppose a group of people gather into a group and they are very angry and they want instant justice, and hence sometimes that is what happens when mob justice. This is how mob justice is created. But there are many cases of miscarriage of justice in instant justice. Sometimes, you know, the wrong people may be hurt. So on this, the justice delivery system is very slow. Even fast-track courts, as you mentioned earlier, they are not fast enough. So is there any way that the judicial reform can remedy this? Will increasing number of cases, increasing number of courts take more cases? Is there any cases that can take precedence, that should be sorted out fast? What are your thoughts? Is there any suggestions?
Yeah, Amrita, just to reinforce your first proposition on the slow judicial process.
Yeah.
There was a study or research conducted by the Department of Public Administration and Policy, Old Dominion University, Norfolk. Now, the research was done in the context of Nigeria. That's why so much of mob violence is taking place in Nigeria and Cameroon. Cameroon and Nigeria, in fact, they are very high on mob violence or mob trial. Now, the only finding is that people indulge in mob violence or mob lynching in Nigeria, mainly because of one thing, is because of slow dispensation of justice by the courts.
Yes.
In Nigeria. So that reinforces your first proposition. Now, see, as I've said, that a separate court system should be set up in Manipur to deal only with such mob violence issues.
Okay.
With a timeline of say around 6 months, to set some kind of a you can say benchmark for our say wannabe mob violence or people who want to take law into their own hands. This is what is they are in a system, and they should know that if they indulge in mob violence, they should be punished by a different court, a fast-track court within a particular timeline, and the results will be found out soon. That's one. Second is that that I think is the only solution.
Okay, fast-track court for mob violence only.
If you want to delegate such matters to the existing courts, which are already overburdened, it may not lead to a result which we want. That's my take. There has to be a fast-track court, a separate court only for such matters, mob violence matters, because we keep on saying such mob violence act, mob violence cropping up every now and then in the Manipur context. More so because there is a ongoing inferno between two communities. That's one suggestion. The other suggestion is to legal awareness. I think it's a high time for our bar associations in Manipur. We have the Old Manipur Bar Association. We have the High Court Bar Association in Manipur. So these bar associations should take a proactive role in creating awareness about the
legal rights,
the wrongs which are usually associated with mob violence and the legal consequences, and as to how a community, because we can't dispense with our justice delivery system. recognized or unrecognized at a local level. We have this, as I said, there's it's a unacknowledged neighborhood watch program in your community. We can't dispense with it immediately,
Right.
but we can surely redirect its activities to a more productive and more peaceful ways and means in the way which I have suggested in my second round. They can go to the extent of counseling. They can go to the extent of assisting the law enforcement agencies in collecting evidence, in picking up the right accused, in building the cases, but not to the extent of creating violence in terms of punishing him right there and there. That's taking law into their own hands, which is wrong. So that's the second part of it. The third part is that there are district legal aid centers, free legal aid centers in Manipur. So they should take a very active role in joining hands with the bar associations. By joining hands with the bar associations, in creating the kind of environment where people are scared of indulging in mob violence to the extent possible. Now, to this, I want to add some of the aspect of mob violence. So we see mob violence only in the context of causing physical injury or physical hurt to an individual, or demolishing a house, or say causing damage to any of the assets or properties of the suspected accused. It may be a car, it may be a garden, it may be the house infrastructure. It can be some other form of his immovable property. I go beyond that. Because you asked the question to Toby. But there is also a very subtle and way of mob violence taking place. It is not physical, but definitely something very serious. I don't agree with our CSOs and with our associations in laying down the charter of rules and regulations as to when a singer can sing or give a public performance in Manipur. Like, say, for example, when the exams are coming, we have a total ban on on this what we call classical music programs.
Yes.
All that. You see, this is a two-way sword. Yes, we should care for our students. We should ensure that they have the right environment to study, to devote their mind to the right thing, which is the education, and to their exam. There is one aspect of it. The other aspect is that there is also a class of people who are habited livelihood, in thousands. It's not that they earn lakhs in a month. The most, on a good night or a good evening, they might be earning say maximum around 2,000, 3,000 rupees, and that is not for the whole year. Wherever this one ban comes in, there is exam, there is some festival or some function, and then we keep a complete stoppage to such activities. This, I think, is some kind of a violation of their livelihood.
Yeah.
Life to livelihood. If students who want to study, they will study. Students who don't want to study, they won't study. And even for those students who are studying from morning to evening, why don't we give an opportunity to them to come out and enjoy a classical music program? Let them enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's not about the whole day being wasted. It's about maximum 3 hours. I mean, 3 hours is a time, if I understand it correctly, for a music program. And let them enjoy it. Maybe they are there for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. Let them enjoy it, go back and study. Of course, there is some noise around, but again, that's unavoidable. 3 hours. And the music programs do not happen every day. So I am quite unsure about such activities or such blanket bans being imposed by our voluntary organizations, even by the All Manipur Music Body. They have their association. Even the film fraternity also have their association. It's time to debate, time to think, and to ensure that the students who are studying, they are also given some time to relax, and thereby not compromising on the livelihood of those otherwise not so well, similarly not so well artists and singers in Manipur. If I understand their background, I have been involved with the music industry for some time. Not in terms of being a director or a singer. I'm really bad in that. But in terms of encouraging young artists to come up and even the music groups also. I sometimes assist them in carrying out their activities in the way they like. So there's very worrisome. You see, the cookie class Inferno has been going on for how many months? 7 months. And 7 months just imagine what they must be doing at home.
Okay, understood. Oja Junior Luwang, yeah. Oja Junior Luwang, our time is almost coming to end, but I'd like to move quickly to Oja Ibungochoubi and Oja Victor also. Okay, Oja Victor, I'd like to ask you one more thing regarding this, that does the lack of legal framework empower such vigilante groups or such rowdy elements, and what legal action can ensure safety of our community? Oja Luwang has also mentioned regarding the fast-track courts, also mentioned regarding separate court for mob violence, and also a bar association to tie up with the district legal aid centers to disseminate information, to disseminate the wrongs of mob violence and how they can go to the courts for their justice. But what other ways can it be done? What are your suggestions? Could you supplement on that, Oja Victor?
We have to, at the first place, we have to communicate amongst the groups of, all of us. I mean, like,
okay.
The instructions of present situation that is like totally broken. There is no any such rule of law in the context of Manipur as of now. So the public as well as the police have to go hand in hand together. But we can do anything. It is not seen in the last 9 months. So where is the law? No, like registrations of FIR has taken place, but the punishment and all those things cannot be done away. In as much as most of the cases are, zero affairs in the context of relating with the present issues. As far as those mob things, we have enough laws, but in law enforcing agencies vis-a-vis on the part of the court also, they're lacking an efficiency, thereby causing lots of disturbance in the legal system.
Okay, time is almost up, and I'd like to have asked more questions. But one question I'd like to ask to the floor to both our panelists and to Oja Ibungochoubi if he joins again. That coming back to our topic, a need for comfort zone and a safety. How will we create a perfect comfort zone for each and every one of us so that we may get at least 6 hours of sleep undisturbed, without any fear, without any anxiety? Can it be done? What are your suggestions on that collectively to do for the society?
Okay. As I said, that we need to understand as a community that it is we only who are living in the same locality, it is we only who are living in the same state. It's not our duty or any kind of a moral obligation to excommunicate anybody just because he or she is suspected to have done something which is not otherwise allowed. Second is that we also have to ensure that there is as much freedom as possible for our community members, singers, artists, people who earn their livelihood on a daily basis, living on hand to mouth. When you do a particular, say, activity, ensure that the right and the livelihood of everybody is respected. Thereby, we say respect their rights under Article 21 of the Indian Constitution.
Right.
For this, I think we need a social revolution in terms of creating awareness, in terms of making people understand what is lawful and what is not lawful. Only then, I think we will have a harmonious society where the culprits are punished as per law, but not by the wishes of a group of people.
Okay.
The group of people's activities, as I said, are mostly well intended for a good cause, but let's do it for a good result. In a way which assists the law enforcement agencies by collecting evidence, by counseling the accused, by counseling the victims, but not indulging in any kind of violence. Yes.
Okay, Oja Victor, could you supplement on that as what Oja Luwang has said? Oja Victor, am I audible?
I think something has happened with this system.
Yeah, I think we may have lost a voice and audio from Oja Victor. But I would like to conclude our program here since our time has come to an end. We have had a very insightful discussion regarding the need of comfort zone, and we also discussed regarding the wrongs of mob violence and the consequences of mob violence. regarding how such vigilante activism, such rowdy elements have come up as a vacuum of a leaderless society that is devoid of law and order currently. Our panelists have put forward various solutions regarding the need for fast-track court dedicated to mob violence and also a need for legal awareness to the public. On that note, I'd like to conclude my session for tonight. I'd like to thank our three panelists for tonight, Oja and Ibungochoubi, Oja Junior Luwang, and also Oja Chongtham Victor, for being here and discussing and putting their thoughts for this program. Thank you once again. I'd also like to thank our viewers for tuning in tonight. Please leave your comments and feedback with us. We'll be back again next Monday, same time. Until then, keep watching ELITETV. I'm Amrita signing off. Have a good week.